What is up, everybody, today? Hope y'all are having a good day. So the Diddy hearing just finished a short while ago, and we have a lot of updates to talk about, not just the hearing, but we also, got a chance to watch the 2020 update that they did last night, and I got to watch it today. And there's some pretty insightful stuff there. And a lot happened. There's a lot to talk about. So, let me do the stuff that pays the bills first. I appreciate you guys being patient with me, but as y'all know, I'm not even prepared for this. I did this so quickly, guys. You guys know, I'll just put it this way. I'm not going to go through and explain the whole thing. If you have been here before, you know that I have written some books. Where are the books? Buy them. That's what I'm going to say. Buy them. There it is. They are on sale. Well, not really. For a bundle, you can get them on sale as the soft covers with free shipping. Get them at the TikTok shop or the website. If you are a parent, you just need these. Trust me, I wrote them because people need them. There was a need for them. So that's going to be my horrible way of selling them today to you guys. But take a look. Now, if you want to support me, one thing that you could really do, I would love a solid from you guys. Whether you're watching on Insta, you're watching on TikTok, if you don't already follow on both those platforms, please do. But YouTube, I'm really trying to hit 100K on Instagram. I think I'm at 91.5 or 91.6, and I'm really trying to get to 50K on YouTube. So every person helps. It's free to subscribe to YouTube. It follows. Even if you want to go hit the follow over there and then come right back to whatever platform you're on, do me a solid on all platforms and do that. It's something free that you can do. We put a lot of hard work into this to make this stuff happen, get the research, make sure you guys have factual information. And it is just a small thing that I will request. I'm pandering for followers right now. Sue me. Anyways, with that said, let's get into this, right? Because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm shortening all this kind of stuff because I am just too excited not to talk to y'all about it. There's too much going on today. So let's start with, I guess, the court thing, because that's what people really want to know, right? We can talk about the 2020 because there were some bigger updates with 2020 that we had last night. Let me get my notes here pulled up. And here we go. Trying to get that. There we go. Here we go. I lost them for a minute. So here's what we can talk about. We're just going to jump right into it. One of the things that you guys want to know is whether or not he's making bail. And I have the answer to that. They didn't discuss bail today, but I actually already know the answer, and I will share that with you guys in a moment, but let's talk about some other things first. So Diddy was in court physically today. This was his hearing, and a lot happened in this hearing. They did not discuss bail, but a decision still has been made, and we're going to talk about what that looks like for him in the next couple weeks, basically. And his mom and his children all traveled from Florida to be there and support him. He came in kind of smiling, hugged his lawyers. Again, this was explained to us. There is no, for those of y'all who don't know, real quick, I'll go ahead and put this on the front end. Federal trials are not televised. And with federal cases, you don't get a mugshot. So when you're like, why have we never seen a mugshot? It's because it's a federal case. The only time the feds share a mugshot prior to trial is if the person is a fugitive and they're trying to help catch them. The mugshot is helpful to do that. So just so y'all know, that's why you haven't seen any mugshots, or in general, this will not be televised. We have to wait and basically take what they tell us. But one of the big things that we talked about this yesterday in videos, I think we talked about this yesterday on here as well, is the fact that Diddy wants, or his team wants, a pretty quick trial date. They went in today requesting sometime in April or May, which may seem like a while because it's like 5-6 months from now, but y'all, 6-ish months. That for a trial of this magnitude, think about how long Brian Koberger has been sitting in jail. For one of this magnitude, y'all, this is it's insanity. It's highly unusual to have one that soon. But that's what they requested. And the judge basically was like, you know what, fine. You want this? You got it. The prosecution was like, the government, we don't have any objections to this. Go for it. So May 5th, y'all, May 5th is the trial date for Diddy's thing. May 5th. Absolutely insane. Now, that's with the current charges. Now, things could change. This is the caveat to it, y'all. This is the caveat. Things could change if more charges are brought against him, which is very, very possible. I mean, you got to think, we know what the charges are. At this point, none of them include minors. We know that there's accusations of him being, we'll just say, to keep it social media safe, inappropriate with minors. So there's more things that could come up out of this. There's at this point been nobody else named, no bodyguards, no associates, which, you know, what they were talking about this actually on Law and Crime. And I was like, this is a good point. I need to bring it up to my own audience. Is the fact that even with Epstein, with the exception of Ghislaine Maxwell, they never charged anybody else. It was just him, and it was supposed to be this big thing, right? So long and short of the story on this, you know, it's just him. Things could change. Things probably will change. But let me also give you another reason why it is kind of unreal. Absolutely unreal that they're trying to do this quickly. Because if you've been following the Idaho 4 case at all, you know how much data is there, how many terabytes are there. If you haven't been following the Idaho 4, don't worry about it. I've got you. I got you, fam. But there were terabytes of data seized. Okay. And we don't know how many terabytes have been seized or how much they have as far as video recordings of Diddy. All we've been told is several terabytes. Now, let me put this into perspective for you guys, okay? 1 terabyte would equal about 500,000 photos. Okay, you could store about 500,000 photos on 1 terabyte. 2 terabytes of just video would take 40 days by themselves, 40 days to watch it by itself, watching nonstop just to get through it, 40 hours nonstop just to get through. And they have several terabytes of this stuff. They also have a ton of devices. They seized 96 devices in the March raid. Now, over the next 30 days, the government is working to extract all data from that. And they gave us a breakdown of where these devices came from. There were, if you guys remember that arrest with his mule in Miami at the airport, or in Florida at the airport. I can't remember if it was Miami or not, but I think it was. They got 9 devices from that. And then there were another 36 devices that they seized from his home, his mansion in Miami. And 29 of those 36 have been extracted. There's also 51 devices that they took out of LA. And in these devices, it also includes his personal cell phone. So it's 96 total. 96 total devices, which is just like, that's an astronomical number, y'all. That's a lot of data. And they're trying to get to this in a few months. Absolutely mind-boggling, y'all, how fast this is, how fast they're trying to get to this. So we'll see if they do it. Now, remember, I don't know if I said this or not. There's going to be a bit of information here that you guys are not going to be happy about. And it was also asked in an unusual way. And that's in regard to a gag order. So before I kind of get into the gag order and why they're being asked for it and what's going on, if you saw the video that I made earlier today about Diddy, the defense made a pretty damn good play for the defense. You know, he's got a pretty strong legal team. They're going to go, and exploit any loophole they can find. They're going to do what they can to try to get their boy out of jail. I mean, that's basically what it is. And that's part of the reason, too, by the way, that they're trying to move this so quickly, is that Diddy does not want to be sitting in jail anymore. He does not want that. He wants out, and they feel very confident in their defense that they are going to exonerate him. That is where it sits as of right now, that for the defense. Prosecution feels also very confident in their case, right? But what the defense has accused the federal government of, specifically the Department of Homeland Security, is leaking the Cassie video and leaking it with the purpose of trying to ruin Diddy's reputation and taint a jury pool, to taint public opinion on him. That's kind of what they're going after. That's what their goal is. That's what they said. And apparently what happened was is the video was leaked. The Cassie video was leaked to CNN by an unknown source. And CNN got that and reached out to the prosecution, the government officials, the prosecution, in this case, the people, the agents at the time. They weren't the prosecution, you know, it was May. So there hadn't been arrests made, but they were investigating because we know the raids had happened. And they said, hey, we received this this video, you know, or actually, sorry, I'm backing up. I'm telling y'all this. I'm missing a very important step on this. CNN emailed the defense, Diddy's attorneys, talking about this video, saying we'd like a comment on it. And defense emailed the prosecutors or the federal government and said, hey, we got wind of this. This is what's going on. I'm sure you don't want this out as much as we don't want this out. And this was just a few hours before they were supposed to air this Cassie video. And so the feds, you know, it's the government, right? They didn't respond fast enough. But basically, which is very interesting, because it means that they didn't see it prior to the raids, just so you know, based on this timeline here. But basically what they're saying is that, you know, hey, thanks for giving us a heads up. We know about it. But they're saying that the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, leaked this footage to try to discredit Diddy. They're also talking about the fact of the timing of its release, because when it was released on, I think it was May 17th, it was a break during the Donald Trump trial that was going on then at that point in time. And so while all the focus was off of Donald Trump and the trial that he was going through, they're like, here's an opportune time to go in and put this there. You know, let's get this out there. Let's get people to see it. I mean, and it blew up. It absolutely blew up. So, insanity. And what's being said from the prosecution is that there's no proof that this was done. You guys are basically just saying this. There is zero evidence that this was leaked from anybody from the federal government. And basically defense is coming back and saying, well, yes, it is. Yes, there is. You guys leaked it, Department of Homeland Security, not the prosecution. And they're also accusing the defense of a racist prosecution. So that's another thing that's been said. And so they're taking offense to it. They're fighting back. So you have to know that history before we get into the gag order, because basically, you know, what the gag order would do is it prevent people from leaking further information or talking to the press. It would be specifically aimed at DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And so that means we would be relying on just court dates and things that the attorneys, you know, choose to share from the different camps, which would be next to nothing, you know, basically until this goes on. Although we probably wouldn't have to wait that long, because even while that's going on with the cases and stuff like that, we'd have the court dates that come up. And really most of the news that's coming out about this, I mean, you had the leak from, you know, the video of Cassie, which was several months ago, but a lot of the news that we're getting about this trial is not coming from the federal side of this case. It's coming from a lot of civil cases that are being brought against him. So basically what the judge left it at was this: draft a gag order. We'll open it to the floor to see any objections, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, the other thing that I spoke about yesterday was the fact that this is a new judge on this case, right, y'all? This is a brand new judge. The other judge, last judge, recused himself because apparently of previous relationships or something that was going on with him and some of the attorneys, and it just felt like there'd be a conflict of interest. And obviously in a case like this, they do not want anything that could be perceived as a conflict of interest, because they want to make sure that he can't get off on some kind of a technicality. All right. And they have a new judge because of that. And the judge, before the bond hearing, the bail even got to him, he was like, he ordered the court, I don't want to hear any more of these, terminate them. But regardless, defense still submitted a bail hearing, and the judge still, I guess, took it under consideration. And it was not talked about during today's hearing. And it was basically the judge would take it under consideration. The way I understand it, at least, is the judge would take it under consideration, and we would know something within 2 weeks. Well, he did not wait the 2 weeks. He made a decision on what's going to happen within those next 2 weeks, which is the fact that Diddy will remain in federal custody. He will remain detained. He is not getting out. He will be there until trial. So a lot of y'all have asked, how many times can this man ask for bail? How many times? Well, you know what? Not anymore. He can't ask for it anymore. There's nowhere else for it to go except for the United States Supreme Court. So if they really wanted to, they could petition the U.S. Supreme Court to, you know, hear his bail appeal, and they could choose whether or not to accept it but they wouldn't. This is not something that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to hear or talk about. So basically, for all intents and purposes, he is going to remain in jail until the trial. The only caveat to that, though, there is a small, little, teensy little caveat to that. If some bombshell evidence comes out that shows he's innocent, something that's, ironclad, fireproof, that he is innocent, then they could revisit the bail hearing at that point in time. And I just do not anticipate that happening, y'all. I just don't. I don't see that happening. So that's kind of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff that happened in today's hearing. I mean, it really was a lot more in a fairly short period of time. This whole group absolutely means business on all of this. Like they absolutely mean business. They're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. And let's talk about the play for the defense, right? Because I mean, it's a pretty bold move. Like Diddy's got pretty much unlimited resources when it comes to wealth. So, you throw enough money at a problem, you hire enough people to review the hours of tapes and stuff that's going to be there that needs to be reviewed. Can you get it done in that period of time? And would Diddy be willing to pay it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely he would. And same thing with the prosecution, right? They have the entire federal government, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, at their Department of Justice at their disposal. So they can run through the video and stuff that they need pretty quickly as well. Because we're not talking about, small, either one of them being small. This is, I don't mean to keep comparing this to Idaho 4, but when you're talking about Idaho 4, Brian Koberger is just some, college kid, middle-class college kid with not really much to his name. And you even talk about Idaho being, it's not a federal case, but it's, I guess it's kind of federal. It is federal. But, you have Idaho where, you have the prosecution, which can do what they need to do, but there's no way Ann Taylor has the resources to do what they need to do to get through everything as quickly. That's not the case here. You have people who are high profile, you have unlimited resources, you have a lot of money, which can make a lot of this stuff go a lot quicker. So it is still a bold move regardless, because they have to be ready, locked and loaded, ready to go on May 5th on this trial. And as I said, I can't remember if I said this or not, but prosecution thinks that they need about 3 weeks to make their case, and defense needs 1 week to defend it. So you're talking about basically a 4-week trial, assuming nothing else pops up. And I'll put it this way. I know that he wants, in his mind, he's going to win this case and he's going to be set free. He's going to be exonerated and let out. That's what he believes. That's what he thinks. And that's what his lawyers are paid to try to do. Personally speaking, I don't think that that's going to happen. And we can talk about why here in a moment when we transition over to what happened during that 2020 interview and those updates. But they feel very confident in what they're doing. And he just wants out. I mean, that's basically where it's at. So assuming nothing else happens, that's the date they're going to take. I do think that there's going to be additional charges brought. And I would imagine, based on listening to some of the experts on this and reading some of the articles and some of the interviews, that if something like that's going to happen, probably look around December, January. Because there could also be more people implicated. Because at this point, remember, Diddy is the only one who has been indicted on anything. So, with that said, let's talk about one of the reasons why Diddy is so adamant about getting out, and one of the arguments that that defense has made on behalf of Diddy trying to get him bail, which was unsuccessful. So there's a lot of concerns with Diddy's legal team and with him as well that he could be a target. We've talked about targets before. And one thing that was referenced, which I had actually completely forgotten about, was the fact that R. Kelly was targeted and beat up. Not for any other reason than the guy who beat him up wanted publicity for his own case. And so by beating up R. Kelly back then, it got his name in there, what he was in for, and got some publicity around his case. Diddy is a much bigger celebrity than R. Kelly could ever hope to win. So, you have that. You have the alleged cartel stuff going on with him. You have the alleged gang stuff going on with him. You have the alleged, this kind of stuff with this trafficking going on. and racketeering and people just maybe wanting to make a name, he's probably not safe. He's probably not safe. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, he's not in Gen Pop right now. He's in a protective barracks unit. But I can see why there's concern. I can see why there's concern. They're trying to keep, they got to keep him alive. Now, let's talk about the 2020 episode, because I think that this is important. If you guys didn't get a chance to see it, then I think you'll find this interesting too. So, basically, there were people who were talking about some of their experiences. One person was talking about how, we were actually talking about Cassie in particular, talking about he would make Cassie, we're going to try to look. I realize that we are all adults here, and social media does not treat us as such. So I have to say different words, and you guys can figure out I'm not trying to be cryptic. I'm not trying to be like, it's a whatever word. It's just, I don't want my stuff to get suppressed. That's just what it is. So, so that's what we're going to do here, just so y'all are aware. But basically, Cassie was apparently forced to have relations with male workers. She would be directed on how to touch them, how to pour oil all over her body. And he would watch this happen as he gratified himself. He apparently would supply illicit substances before, during, and after these freak-offs. And apparently people were too afraid to tell him no because he was so emotionally volatile. And there are a lot of instances. We've seen the Cassie video. There was one about him talking about him beating up his son's football coach at a game. There's also about him assaulting and beating a music industry executive. There's also back in December 1999, he was at Club New York. They were there celebrating a rap artist named Shine's album release. Diddy and apparently some others in his entourage get into it with some people. Firearm gets pulled out. Somebody gets shot and killed. Shine did 9 years for that. Diddy got nothing, despite the fact that there are eyewitnesses saying that it was Diddy who had the firearm. He escaped any accountability with the music executive. He escaped any accountability with the football coach. All charges were dropped. And he got nothing. Shine did 9 years. And so it's reasonable for him in his mind to think that he's going to get out of this. But everything was put on the one person. He always was able to escape accountability. Now, they also talked about why he chose to go to New York. And here's one thing I will give Diddy. I will give credit where credit is due. And I'm going to give him this because, his whole family shows up and shows out to his trial. They've been speaking out on behalf of him. Everything that I have seen, for all intents and purposes, Diddy seems to be a loving and involved father and son. Outside of that, that's the only grace I'm going to give him and the only credit I'm going to give him. And the reason that I say that is one of the reasons he chose to go to New York, apparently this came out, is that the raids had such an impact, the home raids on his kids, that he didn't want them to have to go through that again. So he relocated to New York to make sure that the arrest would have been easier and to not scare his kids. So I got to give him credit for that. Now, let's talk about some updated numbers. And this is just coming out of Tony Busby's office. There are other attorneys that are talking about this kind of stuff and that have clients. We're talking about just Tony Busby. So when we got the presser of Tony Busby talking about the 120 people, he told us that at that time they had received, I think within a 7 or 10 day period, something like 3,000 phone calls. And they had taken 120 of these cases, and they were working on another 100 and some odd cases. But the 120 that they had, that they would begin filing, these were like basically ironclad. They had been corroborated. There was evidence. There was text message. I guess that would classify as evidence. There was enough there to know that we could confidently file this lawsuit, the civil lawsuit, and know that it will go somewhere. That's why it was 120 at that point in time. Well, that number has grown, apparently. So apparently where we're at now, where was it? It was 290. I have lost my place, guys. Okay. It was, I think, 293 people, 292 or 293 people that just they had. They also said that in a 3-week period of time, 14,000 people reached out contacting this attorney's office against Diddy, whether it was in the capacity of, possible, to file a complaint as a victim or somebody who witnessed something or to corroborate stories. 14,000 people, y'all. This is not like we get 10 people together to take this guy down. Like there, it's one of these things like where it's smoke, there's fire, and there is a lot of smoke with this. At this point, with just what they have, with what the other attorneys have, you're talking about over 300 people bringing civil suits against this man, plus what they have, plus hours of free. If you really sit and think about the amount of numbers on that, it is insane. Absolutely insane. Right? So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. But I think that there's going to continue to be more that continue to come out. I think that this is far from over. I think this is far from done. As far as the civil suits go, I also think it's far from over from what like actual criminal charges he's going to be having against him. Crazy, guys. Crazy stuff. So that's where it's at. That's where we're at as of today. There are a few other things that I'm trying to do some research into. There's a very interesting Britney Spears, and let me preface this by saying Britney Spears is not somebody who's one of these people that participated in. I don't even believe necessarily, at least at this moment in time, that she was a victim of him, although we'll talk about that later. But there's a very interesting connection between, I'll just go ahead and give you like a little bit of a teaser on it. A very interesting connection between the people who ran Britney Spears' conservatorship and handled the money, handled the wire transfers, and the people who handled Diddy and these freak-offs. And there's a very interesting connection there. And it's outside of just Lou Taylor. But Lou Taylor is also a link. I saw somebody say that. So very, very interesting. This whole thing could completely change the way the music industry is handled. This is a lot of stuff. This has been like the secrets that people know, but being brought to light in such a public way, in such a public demeanor, that this could change everything. And I hope it does, because that if it's happened, Harvey Weinstein's a good example. We know that it happens in the movie industry too. And I'll bet it's outside of just the rap industry. Like, I'm still waiting to pass total judgment, but like with this Garth Brooks thing that happened recently, which I still owe you guys a video on that. It's at this point so complicated. And so I've just been like, I don't want to sit down and do that. But I owe y'all a video on that as well, an update. And I owe Garth, because we talked about the lawsuit, I owe him his response to be put out there as well. So we're going to make sure that happens. But I would not be surprised if other genres of music, rock, we know that there's some bad crap that goes down in rock. I wouldn't be surprised if country is part of it, as well as other, whatever. So that's it. It's insane. It's just insane. That's what I got for y'all. So there's a few other things that are getting ready to come up. And like I said, every single day, y'all, this is something brand new. Like, since his arrest on like September 16th or 17th, every single day we come out with whether it's a new allegation. In fact, I think that there was a new allegation made by a member of Jodikai today. We're here. Let's talk about it. Let me just find it. That's what Pascal does. I try to model myself sometimes after Pascal. Not really, but kind of. I love Pascal. If you don't follow him, you should. Let me just find it, though. We can talk about it. We'll just talk about it live. I don't have to review it first. Let's just talk about it. Oh, he's been added as a co-defendant. There we go. Let's go. I want to go with... Here we go. Let's go with this article. I have my preference on sources when you have these things, and you can. So, Jodakai's Devontae of a teenage girl who was 16 at the time. It says that it just says the bad boy boss. So I'm guessing that means Diddy and Aaron Hall. Oh, never mind. He's never. I get it. Aaron Hall. They made that read really weird. There's a bad boy boss and singer Aaron Hall were sued earlier this year for alleged assault of Liza Gardner in 1990, and now for that particular one, Devontae Swing has been added to the lawsuit as a co-defendant. What is that? Devontae, who was in his early 20s at the time, is now 55, was present during the incident. Basically, what it says, the amended lawsuit reads, unbeknownst to Miss Gardner at the time, and did not take any steps to prevent this abuse from occurring. It was previously claimed in a sworn statement from a witness that Swing was leaning against the wall or furniture or something, watching whatever Puffy was doing to Liza. Swing allegedly served as Gardner's co-guardian at the time, and as he invited her on the trip to New York where the alleged R took place. The lawsuit claims that Swing had a duty to protect Gardner as her parents entrusted him with her safety. He trafficked and or coerced the child to travel across with hidden intention of providing the child with alcohol, the green leafy stuff, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say prostituting, but I just did. The child to his A&R, which was Combs at the time. At this point, responded, at least at the time of this article, to being added to the lawsuit and the allegations contained within. Now, Liza Gardner was one of the first people to accuse Diddy of R after Cassie filed her initial lawsuit. And she claimed in her original suit that Diddy and Hall took turns R-ing her and a friend after meeting them at MCA Records offices in New York. It goes on to say Gardner, she recalls feeling the side effects of the alcohol. She recalls Combs mounting her and forcing up her skirt. And I'm not going to go any more graphic than that. You get where it goes from there. Also accused Puffy of being physically violent towards her in the days. Now, as of course, Diddy has denied all these allegations against him, saying through his representatives that these are fabricated claims, falsely alleged conduct from over 30 years ago, and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab. That's what they're saying. And here's what I have to say to that. And people started coming out because they felt safe once he was behind bars. Once Cassie did it, they felt safe. There's power in numbers. And you're not talking about two people. You're talking about, we have over 300 people. 300 people that brought suits against him. Right? 300. That's not like one or two. You know, you do one or two. I get, like, not look, I'm one that's always going to say, let's believe victims till we have a reason not to believe victims, right? But this isn't one or two people where you can make the, like, people for Garth Brooks. We have what, as of right now, we have one person out. People are like, that's a money grab. It's extortion. Right? That's what they're saying. It's one person. So, you know what, their argument, while I don't agree with it, might hold a little bit more water than 300 people. And the fact that everybody's been silent over it. That everybody's left, you know. So anyways, absolutely insane. I just don't see a world where he beats this. I just don't. I don't see a world where that happens. Anyways, let's we're just gonna find out. I'm looking for something else because I see somebody saying something and I want to see what I can find on this real quick. I just want to see something real quick because I want to dispel a rumor if that's the case. That's old. Never mind. So we're going to find out, though. Somebody is saying in the YouTube chat that Oprah's left the country. She fled. That's what I was Googling real quick. I see nothing that corroborates that. except for a TikTok video. So at this point in time, I would, and in fact, actually, I'm going to tell you why I don't believe it at all. Because the TikTok video or the YouTube video says the FBI confirms. Let me tell y'all something about the FBI, guys. The FBI don't confirm nothing. The FBI is not going to confirm things. As far as the FBI concerned, the public doesn't need to know anything until it's time for trial. They keep everything close and tight. Everything close and tight. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys about the rumors again. All right. You have to look, and I got into an argument with somebody on a live the other night on TikTok because look, some of y'all are going to believe what y'all are going to believe. Some of y'all are going to believe what y'all are going to believe, and that's okay. And I'm not talking about anybody in any of these particular lives. Okay. But y'all are going to believe what y'all are going to believe. And I had somebody like they were going to die on the hill that under the mansion in LA, there were tunnels that led to the Playboy mansion that apparently then led to Michael Jackson's mansion. Okay. And there's about 18,000 sources out there that fact check that and say it's not true. And all of this stuff that's being spread with like the satanic demonic rituals and all stuff is all being spread by a woman by the name of Allie Carter. Now, when you talk about the people who are out there like talking about stuff, Allie Carter, and Jaguar Wright are the two out there. And if you want my personal opinion, I feel like Jaguar Wright is a lot more credible than Allie Carter. In fact, I'm going to go out and say that I don't believe a damn word that Allie Carter says. I just don't. There's been nothing that she has come out and said that has been credible or corroborated. She claims to be a victim, but she hasn't filed any type of lawsuit against it. She's not been named in anything. She's got it. She apparently lost a lot of money or lost everything a year or two ago. She recently wrote a book. She's trying to get it out there. On top of that, there's rumors out there that she's Tupac's illegitimate daughter. And I'm just like, how much more can this girl be? She is not credible at all, in my opinion. Now, Jaguar Wright, on the other hand, I'm not saying that everything she's saying is true. And we know that Piers Morgan just had to apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce because of some stuff that was aired or whatever regarding that. I'm not saying, but a lot of what she has said is true has come out. And here's the thing. I know that people are going to get upset for me saying these aren't real. I don't believe her. But at this point, and I'm open to change though, guys. If you're new here, I'll tell you, if you've been following me, you already know this. I'm not here to placate people's feelings, right? I'm here to give you guys facts that I can confirm. If I can't confirm it, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's hearsay until we can. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect because I am not. I have gotten things wrong. And when we get things wrong, we address that, we correct it, we make the corrections, and we move on and try to do better next time. But I'm not going to sit here and say, what about this person? What about that person? This person's saying this. That's all rumors and speculation. And you guys don't come to me for that. You guys, there's plenty of people out there who you can go to if you want to hear that and sit in an echo chamber and have people, have fun with conspiracy theories. Because look, I get it. Conspiracy theories are fun. They can be fun. But you have to take a lot of it with a grain of salt. This is a big case with a lot of people, a lot of victims. I personally will not be surprised if he ends up getting implicated. I mean, he's already been implicated, but indicted for Tupac Shakur's murder. I won't be surprised on that at all. And that's one of the rumors, right? That's a conspiracy theory that Diddy's been involved, but there's been enough things to it. So my point is that when you hear stuff, try to find a reputable source confirming it. If you and think about this, when somebody starts it with FBI confirms, no, they didn't. The FBI does not confirm shit. They just don't. They don't have to. They don't owe us updates, and they don't give us updates. They rarely do press conferences. That's just not how they do. So anyways, the reason I'm kind of just like a freaking broken record on this is because it's unfortunate when we have cases that are this big. Look, and again, full transparency with y'all, because I don't, we put everything on the table. This is my full-time job. Okay. This is what I do, is I come online and I do these research on these stories, and I come to give you guys facts, and we do these videos and these lives. And I mean, I've written some books ourselves, whatever, but this is my job. So credibility and integrity to me is very important, but there are some people who just don't care. They're going to see a a case that's hot, that's getting attention, that everybody who's doing stuff on it's getting 6-7 digit views on their videos, and be like, I want part of that. And I'm going to tell you what spreads faster than truth, and that is rumors and lies. Okay? Rumors and lies. Those spread faster than anything else. And people can make a quick payday off of that. You can make a lot of money if you have a video that goes super viral. So, just bear that in mind. And when you don't have integrity, they don't care. They don't care. So, that being said, let me ask a good question. I'm going to take, because I'm trying to build my YouTube. I'm going to do this. I don't normally do this. I'm going to do questions, but I'm only going to do them on YouTube because I'm trying to grow my YouTube following. So that's my thing. I'll do questions on TikTok later, but I'm going to look at the questions that you guys have, and we're going to answer some of these because I know I saw it while this has been going on. A lot of, sorry for my Instagram people too. One day Instagram, we're going to make you the primary focus, and I'm going to come on and just do stuff with you guys. All right, so people are asking questions. Let's go up and take a look. We're going to go back. We'll throw your question up on the screen. And by the way, for anybody who's coming in late, this is being recorded on YouTube, so you can always go back and watch it, rewind it. So if you miss everything, take it on the go, what have you. All right, I'm going to go back. If I missed your question, I'm going to start where I start, and we're going to go. We're going to just go from there. We talked about Joe Kai already. We talked about, somebody asked, okay, did Oprah's house get raided? No. We talked about Oprah possibly leaving the country. There's nothing that corroborates that. Somebody asked if Ellen left the country. No. Nobody at this point is running that we are aware of. Cassie is the prosecution's star witness. I could believe that. Somebody said that. Do we think he will survive the 7 months until trial? Yeah, I think Marissa asked a good question. She goes, do you think he'll survive the 7 months until trial? I do. I do think he's going to survive it. I think that he's not going to be happy about it, but he is in a more higher profile area of where he is. That's limited amount of people. I think he's just with like Sam Banks-Friedman or Sam Friedman Banks. I forget what it was, the order. The crypto guy. But yeah. Let's see what else questions we have. How are they going to pick a jury is my main question. So this is a good question, but think about this. You've had other cases that are pretty high profile. I mean, this one's very high profile, but think about Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was incredibly high profile. Harvey Weinstein was incredibly high profile, and it went everywhere. Now, Diddy's a little bit different because not only is he an entrepreneur, business owner, record label executive, but he's also a musician. He's a very, very, very public figure. And I would say probably as relevant or, as Bill Cosby, or sorry, as famous, but possibly more relevant than Bill Cosby is what I'm going to say. So I don't know. This one's very high profile. This is different than like when we talk about how's the Idaho 4 going to pick a jury. I don't know. This one's everywhere because he's so incredibly famous. So, I mean, we're going to find out, but they're basically, I don't think it's going to come down to, do you not know who the defendant is? I think it's going to be, can you set aside any preconceived notions or biases to give this man a fair trial? And I don't know how they vet for that, but I'm sure that they have a way to do that because, I mean, you've had high profile people before. Donald Trump was high profile. It's another one. So, you have these high profile people and it's got to be very hard to pick jurors out for this. It really is. The next question. And by the way, if you want your question to be fast tracked, if you do it as a super chat, that's how you get priority, just so you know. Why would Diddy want a trial ASAP? Well, let's talk about that. I think that the biggest reason that he wants the trial ASAP is because he doesn't want to sit in jail. This is a man who for the last 30 some odd years has lived in the life of luxury, nice cars, private planes, mansions, parties, high-end clothes, the best meals, the best everything. And now he's sitting in a jail that is well known for being one of the worst ever. So he doesn't like that. I do think too, it's really a bold move when you talk about this solely for the fact that they better make sure defense better make sure they have their ducks in a row, because, part of what they might be banking on is prosecution can't prepare in 6-7 months, but that means they have to prepare in the same amount of time to refute anything that the prosecution brings. So we'll find out. We'll find out. Any truth to diver searching the water of his homes? Not that I've heard of. And here's the thing: if they raided his home, in fact, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is 100% not true. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my logic as to why. If they felt that there was a need to look at the water on his property, and I don't know if he's got water on his property, but I know that like near the beach or whatever, but they would have probably had enough information going in and done that at the time, because between the raids and now, which is, the raids were back in March, he would have had the ability to move, anything. So that's why I'm going to say that's probably no. Somebody said, I missed the updates on the gag order. Can you explain again? Yes. So there is no gag order yet. The defense asked for one specifically against the Department of Homeland Security. And the judge said basically to draft it, and they would see what objections hit the floor. So there is no gag order yet, but I would bet money that it's coming. Somebody asked how Oprah is associated. At this point, and by rumor only, there are pictures of her with Diddy, but there's a lot of pictures of people with Diddy. And as I've said before, when we talk about names, people who've gone to Diddy's parties, it does not necessarily mean that they were complicit in the illegal activities and illegal going on. Doesn't mean that they weren't, but it doesn't mean that they were. And until there's viable proof there, everything is hearsay. I think that part of the reason people like to name Oprah and Ellen in particular is that people just don't like them. So at this point in time, though, I've not seen any evidence to show that they've done anything nefarious. If and when that changes, believe me, I'll be the first one to tell you guys. In fact, shit, guys, that would be a viral video for me. I shouldn't have said that word because that'll get me whatever. But that would be a viral video if Oprah got arrested, fled the country, was indicted. I would be the first one all over that. Somebody said, you came in late. Can you list the others again, please? Donna, no, I cannot. I'm not doing this to be mean. With YouTube, the beautiful thing is when you are here, you can rewind. And by the way, I'm only taking questions on YouTube right now because I'm trying to build this platform. So if you are coming over to YouTube, please hit that follow button. I'm trying real hard to get this to 50,000, and I'm at 31 and change right now, 31.9, I think. So please come over if you have any questions, and that's the only place I'm answering them right now. But with YouTube, you can rewind, and this will be saved permanently. So one of the reasons I do these shows is so I don't have to repeat that information, because it's all there. Two other questions. We asked about the drivers. Bell asks, we have a starred question. Hold on before I get to Bell's. Melody, did you? Oh, thank you, Melody. We're going to give you, I appreciate that's not even a question there. Well, you did ask a question, but let me thank you, Melody, for the super chat, or appreciate you on that. We're going to take a moment to say thank you. But the next question was, let me go down to this. When will they be releasing more names? So this is a great question. So there's a couple things. Well, there's like 400 things going on, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, there really is. You have this federal trial going on, and then you have all these other civil lawsuits being brought. And the civil lawsuits are the ones that contain the other names of famous people that are going to be in it. Now, here's the thing about civil lawsuits. Civil lawsuits are not criminal. And I've had to explain this a few times. You're not going to get an arrest from a criminal lawsuit. Now, could criminal investigations be sparked from a civil lawsuit? Absolutely, they can. It's rare, but they can. Okay? And a lot of these celebrities, because they don't want their names associated with this, they're like, you've noticed Hollywood and the music industry, they have shut up. People are not saying a word. They have, I've never seen, usually there's somebody standing by or condemning. Nobody's doing anything. It's like they're all waiting for the next shoe to drop. Right? It's insane. I've covered a lot of things. I've never seen anything like it. Absolutely mind-blowing. But to answer your question, Bell, as these lawsuits get filed, so for celebrities who come forward who don't pay off, or not say pay off. Payoff's the wrong word. I mean, it's kind of right word, but settle with their victims. Those names are not going to be released. I'm sure that anonymity is part of that settlement agreement. Now, settlement is just about when people go to a civil suit, there are one of two things, or possibly two of two things. There are two things that people could be after. One is money. The other is information. Okay. I can tell you with knowledge that I have that when you go to the civil trial, like the Gabby Petito case, where Gabby Petito's family were in a civil suit with the Laundrie family, that was not about money. That was about information that they received, they're satisfied with, that the public is not privy to. Same thing with the Micah Miller case. When they settled, money was involved, I'm sure. I don't know the full details, but there was a lot of information that they needed, or certain things that they wanted that were outside of just money. And that's what this is about. It's not about arrests. So the goal of filing these lawsuits, I'm sorry, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but I just want to make sure I drive this point home. The goal of these lawsuits is to be made whole again through financial means. So if these celebrities are coming through and saying, hey, we don't have to go to court, we'll settle this, the plaintiff is saying, you know what, this amount of money you're offering me is good to me. I'm happy to sign this disclosure that, hey, I'm going to settle with you and I'm not going to mention you. Then they're going to take that deal. And that's what's been kind of happening with some of them, with a handful. So those names of those people, we might not hear anymore. We might not ever know who those people are. But there are others that are coming out. We're up to over 300 civil cases between Tony Busby and the other ones that are out there. We're up to like 300 of these. So there are names that are going to be coming out. And to answer the question of exactly when, it should be within the next few weeks. Tony said a week ago that, you're talking about within the next 30 days. So I would imagine what they're doing right now is they're giving people the opportunity to respond to these lawsuits, respond to these, the requests for settlement or discussions for settlement, mediation, and then they're going to go from there. Because you got to think lawyers are not paid to believe clients, right? They're paid to win. I'm not saying that they don't. But Diddy's lawyers don't have to believe him. They just have to help him win. These lawyers, they don't care if it goes to trial or if these celebrities' names get, like somebody like Tony Busby, or if they get released. He doesn't care about that. Their goal is to get from point A to point B, which is file the lawsuit, get the money. File the lawsuit, get the money. And if they can do that without having to go to court, and it's one less thing, then that's less hours for them, and they're making money that they're happy to do. So my point is that's why it's not about, people getting justice on this. But if there's criminal action, there's underage stuff, I think that you could probably see a criminal investigation for that. Sorry, that was a long answer to your question. Somebody asked if I could explain the gag order. I already did earlier. So if you'd like to rewind a little bit, you could hear that. Is he able to have visitors in jail? By the way, for those of y'all watching on TikTok, I'm trying to grow my YouTube presence, which I am right now. So if you'd like to ask a question on this that I will answer, jump over to YouTube, because that's all. I'm only answering YouTube questions right now. That's my thing, I guess, to do that. So yes, he is. In fact, all of his kids and his mother have visited him, and his lawyers. So he's been visited by his family. Do I think he will get unalived or take his own life? I do not. I feel like while there are some similarities to the Epstein case, this is not the Epstein case. I'm going to put your thing back up there. I think that while there's, like I said, similarities to Epstein, this isn't Epstein. Epstein, this is not the best way to word this. So my apologies for verbalizing it this way. But again, just keep TikTok safe. For Jeffrey Epstein, his product was meant to be supplied to a lot of high-powered people, celebrities, bigwigs, whatever, Prince Andrew, allegedly, a lot of different celebrities, a lot of different people, whatever. He was a broker, essentially, is what he was. He used Ghislaine Maxwell and others to recruit these girls, and then he brokered them out. That's what he did. Did he partake in what he did? Yes, but he wasn't the top person. And I know that a lot of y'all will disagree with me. I believe, and that's fine. Disagree with me. Totally okay. You're entitled to your own opinion. I'm not here to knock that. By all accounts and everything that I've seen and read and everything that I believe, and being as deep in this case as I am, I believe that Diddy is the top dog that they're going. There's not anybody else that they're going after on this. There might be people that are below him that helped, But Diddy is the Diddy is not, it's a bad example, but Diddy is the top dog on this. There's nobody else that they're wanting to bring down. I think that, so when you're talking about lists, it's not Diddy or government officials hiding the list. It's famous people hiding, paying off people so that their names don't get out there. And again, feel free to disagree with me. Totally okay. But see, the difference between Jeffrey and Epstein and Diddy was that there were high-powered people that Epstein could name, whereas in this case, I believe that Diddy is the high-powered person. Somebody says the water not his home. I haven't seen anything on it. I haven't seen any news stories on the water being searched, Melody. I will try to do a little bit more of a deep dive, and if I can find truth to it, I'll make sure to put it in the next video for you. Have they tested the baby oil? Not to my knowledge. Shannon, thank you. I appreciate you. So I'm trying to go through these. Feels like names will never be released. They will, Bianca. It's not been that far. It's not been that long. Does he get special treatment in prison being a celebrity? No, he actually, no, but yes. So no, in the way that you're thinking. He's not getting like special meals or privileges or anything like that because he's Sean Combs. He is being put in an area that's for more high profile prisoners, to keep him out of Gen Pop, to basically eat the target off of his back. Question: will the trial be televised, and can Diddy stop that from happening? Good question. The answer is no, it will not be televised. So they do not televise federal trials. It's just something they don't do. So there's nothing that Diddy can do to change that. Here. Appreciate you guys coming from TikTok and Instagram. I see y'all in here. I see you and I appreciate that. Do I think that Kim Kardashian is involved in any way? This is how I can answer that. I know that she's been to parties. Okay. I know that she's been to parties. Now, and like I said before, there's a lot of people who have been to parties, but it doesn't mean that they're complicit in the illegal activities. Can you talk about Steve Harvey's wife and her criminal background? I don't have information on that, so I can't speak on that accurately. All right, I'm trying to see if am I caught up on the questions. Kim Kardashian said they've all involved Oprah, Beyonce. I mean, I haven't seen anything that's official on that, but somebody asked. By the way, so I'm caught up on the question. So if you have questions and you want me to ask them, jump over to YouTube, hit the follow while you're there. I'm trying to grow that channel. That's my way. And yeah. So the question on this one is: do you think Justin Bieber will come forward? He kind of there was actually some updates on him. Let me see if I can find it, because I actually think I put it in my things about later. Fine, we'll click on Justin Bieber. Sorry, my computer's going a little slow on me because there was some stuff that came out today. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. Hold on. Where is it? It says here, so he says he breaks silence. He's disgusted. All right, let's talk about this. Let me get this one pulled up, and let me get this other one pulled up. Okay. So let's talk about Usher's involvement real quick. So apparently, let me move this over here. Where did my thing go? There it is. Sorry, guys. So Usher played a key role basically in introducing Justin Bieber to Diddy. All right, just so y'all know. He was the one who connected to music mogul L.A. Reid and then basically Diddy. He says that he wrote in his 2016, hold on a second, Reid, so L.A. Reid in his 2016 tell-all memoir, reveals how Usher brought Justin to him as a gift when he was merely 14 years old, which led to his introduction with Sean Combs. A year after Bieber was signed by Reid for his Island Records, the 15-year-old Bieber spent 48 hours at Diddy's home without any supervision. During the time, they went, quote, full buck crazy, end quote. Those were Diddy's words, Puffy's words. It was also revealed that Usher, when age 14, was also signed by Reid, who then sent him to be mentored by Puff. They have Puff Diddy in here. That's funny. I think but Puff Daddy for a year. even after being signed to another label, that the music producer would often exchange, quote, unexchanged gifts with Usher. I think like I need to read this book, guys, and report back to y'all. Apparently, it says that this is how it's worded. This is his words, not mine. 4 p.m. Usher arrived with an adorable 14-year-old boy. This kid was beautiful, like a woman can be beautiful, and men this is creepy, y'all. And men rarely are. And he turned it on as soon as he stepped into the room. That's creepy. He immediately recognized Justin's talent, said that he could be the biggest of them all, and decided to sign him straight away. Since he was a minor, it took a place to get his parents involved and signed off. He also mentioned how he hired a vocal coach to help Bieber through transition. He said, that I wasn't that Usher. I didn't give him the same love and support at the time. Well, that's creepy. That's really creepy. So that was in Ellie Reed's apparently memoir that's in. So I think I'm gonna have to get that book, y'all, and try to read it and see what we can find. That's creepy. I don't know. That's something. That's something. All right, let's talk about Bieber's most recent stuff, because there's a lot of things that say he's broken silence, and he kind of has, guys. He's kind of broken silence a little bit. Through friends and connections, he's not himself like gone on TV and done anything. And here's the thing, the more we kind of look at this, the more that to me that Bieber was a victim. We don't have solid evidence of that, but it's signs are like, right, there are glaring signs pointing to that. But basically, let's get down to it. So he apparently broke his silence among friends about what he went through due to the shocking allegations against him. He talks about, let me go down here, sorry. He hasn't spoken publicly, but that he's privately struggling with the situation concerning his once close connection with Diddy. The last thing Justin wants to do is relive or even discuss his complicated friendship with Diddy, but he's finally breaking his silence to his friends about his nightmare experience and the private hell it's caused him. Bieber and Diddy have had quite a history together, with their relationship stretching back to Bieber's early days in the limelight as a teen. Usher, another protege of Diddy, also significantly influenced Bieber's career trajectory. The two artists have worked together on several occasions, most recently on Diddy's 5th studio album, the Love album, Off the Grid, for the track Moments. In light of recent controversy surrounding Diddy, numerous videos showcasing their past interactions have resurfaced, causing concern among some of the fans. I think most fans are about him than anything else. Talking about the full butt crazy. Bieber's been open about his personal struggles throughout his career, including battles with substance addiction, thoughts of self-unaliving, depression, particularly in a 2020 documentary. So there's a documentary about him called Justin Bieber, The Next Chapter, for anybody who's interested in that. He talks about when he reflects on his past, it's hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone telling second. He also shared his protective feelings towards Billie Eilish at the age of 13, just like him. If she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. I don't know what that noise is out there, guys. Oh, it's the dog. So that's kind of what Bieber's talking about. He's just struggling with it, It's been hard to have all the stuff dredged up. He's currently sitting on his massively supportive wife, Haley, and their new baby boy, Jack Blue. However, if speaking about his past trauma can help others, he probably will. He wants to break the cycle once and for all. So again, to me, it sounds like Bieber was basically, I don't even think that he was like a victim turned participant. I don't. So that being said, now let me go back and look at the comments you guys had while I was doing that. So that was the Justin one. What's the chance of him winning this thing? Very slim. For those of you all wondering, I'm answering questions on YouTube because I'm trying to grow this following over here. If you do come over here, please follow me on YouTube as well. Here's a winning. Can I explain the gag order and what it means? I explained it earlier, so yeah, you're welcome. If you want to rewind it a little bit, you can do that. I don't with YouTube because it does rewind. I don't typically repeat. Is there on today's hearings? Yes, Marion. Entire YouTube is about today's hearings. So if you wanted to go back to the beginning, we start pretty early on and talk about everything. I'm going to do this while I look for questions. Yes, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share to help grow this channel. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you. Do I think Ashton Kutcher is S trafficking as a gateway for a piece? So this is an interesting. I see what you're asking. You're basically asking if Ashton Kutcher and his charity was a gateway for Diddy. I'm not going to say that it is, and here's what I'm going to say. And I'm not making any accusations against that. I feel like Ashton Kutcher is problematic. Okay, and here's why. Because it's like nobody. Then Ashton Kutcher's like, I'm worried that Diddy's going to lie about his friends. Like he just comes out of the blue with that stuff, you know. It's like a child tattling on themselves, you know. Like who broke this vase? Well, it certainly wasn't me. I didn't do it. I'm worried that my brother's going to lie about it, though, or my friend's going to lie and say that I did it. I mean, you're just telling on yourself. But let's just look at some things about Ashton Kutcher. Okay, he went hard for Danny Masterson after those allegations, after the conviction, asking for a lighter sentence with what he did. He's been friends with Diddy for decades. He does run this charity, and I would, you know, to help kids who are trafficked victims of, you know, assault. And I would hope that he's doing that for the right reasons. But I can also tell you that there was a case I covered about a year and a half ago where the alleged perpetrator was also was on the board of a charity for child victims of that type of thing. And again, I'm not saying that Ashton is doing this for any type of illicit reasons, but I'm telling you, with that other case, it's believed that he was. And you know, Ashton has questionable friends, and I think that that's all I can really say about that. And it seems that Ashton's worried. Will the public be able to read court documents after the trial? Is that something that happened? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, once it's done, you'll have transcripts and documents and things like that. And you'll probably get them as they're filed. Even with a gag order, I think that you would still be able to get those documents after they filed. Amanda, thank you for coming over for TikTok. Appreciate you. What are the chances of him winning this case? Taking O.J. Simpson's case as an example. This was supposed to be a slam dunk. This is a different case than O.J. And yeah, O.J., you know, ended up getting convicted because of the stupid glove and prosecution, you know, bringing up the glove and things like that. It was just, it added the doubt. I mean, there's more to it than that. I'm oversimplifying it, but without getting into a recap of the entire O.J. Simpson trial, you know, yeah, he got away with it, but then he did other things that he was arrested for. And with Diddy, there's a lot of things that he's arrested for. There's a lot of, you have the main charges, but then you have other things under there. Like, you know, you have, I think arson's one of them. And then there's like, I think obstruction of justice. And there's I can't remember what all of them were, but there were a lot off the top of my head, but there's a lot of them. So, you know, as far as the chances of him winning this case, I think it's pretty slim. It's also a different district. So with OJ, it was out of Los Angeles, and with Diddy, it's Southern District Court of New York, who doesn't take things unless they're pretty much a slam dunk. Somebody says if allegations are true with Bieber, then it would be a nail in the coffin. Absolutely. And if they know that, then they know that. Somebody asked, not sure if you remember, Kanye had mentioned something about fearing for his kids because of the Kardashians. Do you think that he knows something as well? Kanye, look, there's a lot of people who, me personally, I don't like Kanye. I think he needs to go back on his meds. And I don't take a lot of stock in what Kanye says. Do I think that Jennifer Lopez will be subpoenaed along with any ex-partners? I'm not sure. You know what? There is something I forgot to tell you guys, though. That reminds me. They've got over 300 subpoenas out there. 300 subpoenas. They've gotten 100 of them back for how, you know, but they've got 300 out there. So it's very possible. Somebody said, we'll address some of the comments because they're kind of common questions. They said he wasn't eating because he's afraid somebody would poison him. Yes, that is true. I don't know what he's eating or not eating at this point, but they said that. Somebody said, I think this is going to get deep. I agree. Does anybody know if Allie's okay? I don't believe that Allie's a victim, honestly. She's offered no proof that she is. She's not filed any lawsuits. And so far, everything she has said has turned out to be BS. So I'm sure she's fine. Now, again, if evidence comes out that proves otherwise, or in some of her stories start becoming credible, then we'll have that discussion. I'll be the first one on her side. I've talked about the gag order, so I'm going to skip over that. You can rewind and see that. People asking about certain names of victims. I don't know who the victims are going to be at this point. It's when found guilty, what will his sentence look like? Depends on what he gets convicted on. It could be, I mean, probably he's looking at decades. I would imagine he'll never see the light of day again. I know that one of the charges alone is 15 to life, but I don't think he'll get a life sentence for what it's worth. Gator Girl asked, and Gator's subscriber to the channel, so we're definitely going to answer this question. Did you happen to watch the conference today after the hearing? Yes, that's what this entire live is about. Is there any proof that Diddy was having satanic rituals? No. That's another one of Allie Carter's concocted stories, along with her tunnels. Yeah, this is true too. I like this. I'm putting this up because I like this. The OJ case was also happening at a very specific moment in time that allowed him to get off, and I agree with that. So what was interesting about OJ's trial, and I'm going to say this very, very, very carefully and very loosely, but when you're talking about OJ's trial, and you're talking about where it was right after the race riots, right after Rodney King, and it was basically the first time in the eyes of a lot of people in the black community that a black man actually got a fair trial. So and that's the thing. And a lot of people remember that there were a lot of a lot of our black brothers and sisters were cheering, when he won. But having spoken to so many people, I've not talked to one ever that said that they were cheering because he got off. They believe that he did it. They were cheering because he actually got a fair trial, treated like, a white person would have been treated. And that's a hell of a statement. I mean, it really is. Do I think he unalived his ex-wife? That's a pretty big accusation for me to throw down. But I know I've said it with Tupac though. Yeah, I do. I think it's possible. Yes. Do I think that there's bodies around him? Yes. So there's a rumor this is a good question. Robin asks, there's a rumor someone is wanting to pay $50K for their S tape. What do you know about that? Yeah. So allegedly one of the tapes there's a S tape that's got a very, very, very famous person on it. We don't know who it is. And it's being shopped around to media outlets. And this person is wanting to buy it to basically bury it. How do I know that Allie hasn't filed a lawsuit? Because the way Allie puts herself out in the public, it would be 100% out there if she had. And it's not why. And this is the comment. How do you know Allie hasn't filed a lawsuit? Talking about her that is wild without more information from you. Here's what I can say. She's claimed to be Tupac's daughter. That's easily provable. She hasn't proven that. She claimed that there were tunnels under Diddy's mansion. That's been proved to be completely not true. She said that there were cages there. That's been proven to not be true. What else has she said? Satanic rituals. That's not on anybody's radar but hers. She's not. Again, you look at somebody like Jaguar Wright. You look at somebody like her, and you dig into her past a little bit, and you see, okay, she's lost everything at one point. She's recently written a book. She's trying to get that book out there. She's trying to be relevant. Again, if it comes out that she was a victim, that she really was, and there's stuff out there, then I'll believe it. But I'm always on the side of inclined to believe victims until you have a reason not to believe victims. And I feel that I have a reason not to believe her as a victim because nothing she has said to this point has been proven true. It's actually been, in fact, I'll go further. It's not only not just been proven true, it's been proven false. So that's why I'm at. But again, I'm the first one. I'll eat my hat on it. If it turns out that it's true, I'll be the first one saying, "Hey, look, we got a lawsuit." But let me tell you something. She wants her name out there. She wants people listening to her. If she had filed a lawsuit, she would have been the first one out in that lawsuit. Because you're not going to sit out there and accuse what you're accused, everything that she's accusing of, and then file a lawsuit under Jane Doe. That's just not going to happen. But we'll find out. So Helena says, a lot of people talked about tunnels under Playboy Mansion, Jack Nicholson, Diddy, and a lot of people. So I've heard Jack Nicholson, I've heard Diddy, I've heard Playboy Mansion, I've heard Michael Jackson. They're not real. The tunnels don't exist. They don't exist. That's just what it is. They don't exist, y'all. I know you want them to exist. This is like Brian Laundrie in the bunker all over again. It doesn't exist. Again, I'm not going to keep dispelling the rumors and having this. You guys are going to believe what you want to believe. If you want to believe that there's tunnels and satanic rituals, go for it. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. What are your thoughts on Jaguar Wright's accusations linking various famous celebrities? A lot of what Jaguar Wright has said has come out to be true. Some things have not been true. I think that there's a bit of credibility. I would like to have a conversation with her. I'll put it that way. I think that there's a good bit of credibility in what she's been saying because some of what she said has turned out to be factual. Now, somebody asked, and this plays right into this question. Somebody asked about Piers Morgan. Elizabeth did. Asked about Piers Morgan, which is, why did Piers Morgan have to apologize to the car? Does this mean what Jaguar said has no proof? So this is a great question, and I think you worded it beautifully, to be honest with you. And I really like that you asked this question. So Piers Morgan aired part of Jaguar Wright's interview or whatever that accused the car, Jay-Z and Beyonce of some pretty, bad things. And he's had to issue an apology because at this point in stuff, that stuff has not been proven yet. Now, here's what we know. When you talk about the rumor circles, Jay-Z and Beyonce's name have come up a lot. We also know that Diddy and Jay-Z have been friends for a very, 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 very long time. Again, as I said before, just because you're friends with somebody, just because you're at the party does not necessarily mean that you participated in the illicit and nefarious activities. It doesn't mean that you didn't, but it doesn't mean that you did. And so I think that basically to answer your question, does it mean that it's not true? It means that it's not been proven true yet at this point in time. So do I feel that Jay-Z is going to be one of these people that's called upon in some way, shape, or form during this whole fiasco against Diddy? I do. I think that he's going to be shown up. I think he's going to be named. We'll find out if it's true. We'll find out if it's true. We'll find out if it's true. I know that I said I wasn't going to keep entertaining the conspiracy stuff, but I'm going to do this last one. An S worker told the FBI about rituals he's in, bully Black Illuminati, and they worship Moloch. This is real. They had tunnels below Pagan Temple where Epstein Island. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here, but I'm going to just do it in this one thing. How do we know somebody told the FBI that and that they are credible? The FBI does not share or confirm information, especially when cases like this. If this is the FBI said, the FBI did not say. If you want to believe it again, believe it. Believe that there's some whole bully Black Illuminati worshiping Moloch with pagan temples and tunnels under Epstein Island. If you say it out loud, I'm just going to tell you, it sounds insane, but believe it if you want to. I'm just saying. So, any news on Steve Harvey being involved? Nope. That's another name that's been put out there that's not necessarily true. He's on video, so it must be true because nobody's made fake videos ever. Got it. Let me tell you something. We're talking about fake videos. Brian Laundrie went live on a boat and he was already dead. In a fake video. In a fake video in Idaho, you could hear people screaming. The way the camera was done. It's not hard to do. Do I think the rumors on Chris K, Corey, Diddy, and the charity is true? Do you think this Chris is hiding money in the actual charity, Kim K paying victims off with? No, I think that I don't think that there's truth to that. I think that there's a lot of people out there saying a lot of stuff because it fits a conspiracy theory narrative. But that's kind of just where it's at, honestly. You know, at this point in time, Diddy's the only person that's been named. It's, as far as we know, they're not investigating other people's. That would, when you're what you're talking about right there, with hiding money in charities and paying off victims, that would fall under like the RICO statutes as well, and they'd be going after that too, because you're talking about a lot of people with a lot of money. You know, again, people say stuff and they just like to say stuff. So. What other questions you guys have? Y'all are asking some really good questions. I'm answering only on YouTube for the time being because I'm trying to grow that channel. Just being honest with y'all. Just being honest with y'all. And for anybody who's watching on Instagram or TikTok, this entire live, including the hearing updates, the updates from what happened on the 2020, that's all saved. This is all saved on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it anytime. In fact, I have a Diddy playlist where I'm uploading all of this stuff. So when it's done, it'll move over to that playlist and you guys can watch it. But anybody else have any questions? How do you feel at the nightclub shooting, which involved Jennifer Lopez and Diddy? You're talking about Club New York. We talked about that earlier. Diddy was not held accountable at all for that. Thank you, Belinda, for coming over from TikTok. Do I think that there's a list? Do I think that the stuff surrounding Justin Bieber is true? Okay, let's answer that question. Will Smith, again, same thing that I've said with the others. There's no proof. Do I think that there's a list? I think that there's a list, but not in the sense that you think of a list. Like, I don't think that there's a list, like, you know, a book of pages written down with people's names. I think that there are names that are going to come out from lawsuits, probably some names that show up multiple times. And I think that there's a list in that capacity, but I don't think there's like a book of these people. But I do think that there's going to be some names I believe that there's going to be some names that surprise us. I think that some of the names, personally speaking, okay, this is me on speculation, and personally speaking, I'm not going to name one specific, but in my personal opinion, I think that a lot of names that some of y'all are naming are going to show up in this. I can't confirm them right now because it's not true. It's all rumors. But do I think some of the names that a lot of y'all are naming are going to show up? I do. I honestly do. I honestly do. So as far as Bieber, though, I do think that Bieber's gone through some stuff. I think that he's a victim. I do. I mean, it's 300 subpoenas, not a lot. If he's been at this for 30 years, that's reasonable, right? Yeah, I suppose that it would be reasonable. But I mean, to me, it seems like a lot. But you're right. You're talking about 30 years. You know, you're talking about 10 per decade, basically. No, that's not right math. 100 per decade. There we go. Math. It's a lot. Are there dark web tapes that you can find? Let me tell you something about the dark web. I know that the dark web exists. I do not know how to get there. I don't want to know how to get there. So I can't answer that question. I don't know. I've already spoken about Jaguar right earlier. If you'd like to know, you can rewind it a little bit. If he has RICO charges, isn't the IRS involved in yet? No, because it's not. He's not like any tax evasion or anything like that. None of his assets are seized. There's nothing really yet on that I've seen. Is it true that there are videos of Will Smith with another man? As far as I know, that's still a rumor. I mean, I know that him and Jada Pinkett Smith have an open marriage, but I think they would freeze his assets because if he has RICO charges. They're not freeze, though. Do I think Diddy's sons are involved? So, you know, Diddy's sons are an interesting question because they do have their own lawsuits kind of against them, right? And I think Justin's been named and Christian's got an SA assault against him. So, yeah. Catherine asked what's a gag order. I explained the gag order a little bit earlier. So if you'd like to rewind, I on YouTube, I don't repeat, but it is in this video. You can rewind a little bit and see it. We talked about it for a little bit. Do I think a gag order will be granted? I do. I think videos will bring out names. I agreed. If gag order, will we hear anything case related? Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm not overly concerned about the gag order. I'm going to tell you why. Because the majority of videos, at least that I've been doing, and the majority of information that you want, is actually not coming from the federal case. It's coming from the civil cases, and you're talking 300 of them right now. There's going to be plenty of information that comes out as these go, and then you'll know things when court happens. You'll get updates when court happens that they'll be able to send to the press, which will, and they're talking about doing a trial in 6-7 months. So I don't think necessarily that if they do instate a gag order, that's going to impact us that much. That's just my opinion. So dark web, I like this. Chantel's like, dark web exists. It does. Don't ever try to go there because it ends up on your computer in any way. You may be screwed. Yeah, don't go to the dark web. It's not a good place. The videos are down there. Don't go try to find them. They would. My answer to that would only be speculation. I don't know. Maybe, probably, possibly. What are your thoughts, feelings? I have not watched it yet, but I can't wait to watch it. So, to be determined, Welsh babes. To be determined. Thoughts about everyone thanking Beyonce at the award show. I always thought it meant she was an inspiration. Why would they force artists to mention her? I don't know. That's a good, I've heard a lot of rumors about the award show and things like that. I don't have a good answer for you on that, honestly. Belinda, you became a new member to the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the content, things like that. You're amazing. You get a round of applause for that. Sorry, I know that's obnoxious, but that's what we do around here. I suspect some of the names are big names. He might Epstein. I talked about it earlier. I don't think that that's going to be the case in this one. I'm going to leave that up here till the next question. What do you think? There we go. What do you think about Diddy looking not like himself in his mugshot? People are saying, let's talk about this. There is no mugshot. So if you see a mugshot of Diddy, it is not real. It is not real. It's one of those things that are out there. There is none. When you're talking about a federal trial, mugshots are not released. The only caveat to that is if the person is a fugitive and they're trying to find them. So if you've seen a mugshot for this, it is not a real mugshot, and it is 1000% fake or AI, which I guess would still be fake. In fact, the thumbnail on this, let me show you this real quick. I mean, this isn't the best, and I made sure that it wasn't the best because I didn't want to get sued or whatever, but let me show you something. So my thing for this is supposed to be Diddy, right? This right here, it's not the very good Diddy if you look it up in big, but on the thumbnail, it's going to look like him. This was done with AI, y'all. An AI image generator. It's like, I want Diddy in an orange jumpsuit behind bars, but don't make it look too much like Diddy. And I want glasses. That's what I got. That's what I want, So my point is that you can make, and that was just a free program. I know there's generators that are much better from that. I don't even know what's going to be released in the new documentary. 50 Cent's been trolling him for a long time. What do I think about where'd it go? What do I think about Cat Williams' opinions? Cat Williams has been spot on a lot of his things too. There you guys coming over from TikTok. I appreciate it. Yep, he is aging. He is aging too. And he's under a lot of stress and probably not sleeping well. Oh, thank you, Belinda. I appreciate you. I guess you're in Vegas. Will the trial be live? No. Federal ones are not. Federal trials are not televised. Thank you guys coming over from TikTok. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel. Please, hit that follow button. I'm trying to get I'm very far off on it. 50. Let's just go 35,000. I'm trying to get to 35,000. And when I started today, I was at 31.9. So we'd love to get 35,000 on YouTube, and I'm trying to get to 100K on Insta, which I'm at 91.6 or 7 there, I think. We got another new member to the channel. Thank you so much, Nicola. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love it when people support. Thank y'all so much. We put a lot of hard work into this, so I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Can we talk about sentencing? We can talk about sentencing. For one of the charges alone, he's looking at 15 years to life. Now, I think he's going to get a life, like we sentence you to life in prison? No, I don't think he's going to get that. Sorry, somebody asked Julie asked a great question. I was reading it while I was trying to answer this. Julie, 1 second, I'll get to your question. It's a great question. But I think he's facing decades. I think that it's very possible he'll never see the light of day again. I really do. Oh, we got to do this first. Again, precedence on this stuff. Thank you for answering questions. Oh, Holly, thank you. We get another pause here. Sorry, y'all don't like it, but appreciate the super chat and the support on you for that. Thank y'all so much. You guys are amazing. Love y'all. So Julie asked, and I'm almost like sighing when I answer this because I'm going to give you the answer, and then people are going to be like, well, you'll see. How do you determine the tunnels weren't real? Better question. Where do you research to debunk conspiracies and decide what's true? So this is a great question. And I love that you asked this question. And the reason that I sigh a little bit at it is because there are people out there that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, are going to be like, you can't believe mainstream media, but there are fact checkers out there. And Reuters is one of them. I love Reuters. They've never steered me wrong. So that's one that I use a lot. Snopes can be hit and miss. But with the tunnels in particular, to address that specific one, and then I'll get to the other part of your question, there's about 18,000. I know that's very much an exaggeration, but there's a ton of articles out there, a ton of things about debunking the rumors and a lot of the other rumors surrounding this case, because the challenge with social media is that it gives everybody a platform to spew complete garbage and trash, and they take that opportunity and it spreads like wildfire. Not to say that's what everybody does, but there are plenty of people who do. So the second part of your question, where do you research to debunk conspiracies? That's kind of how I do it. Is I look for multiple sources, and they have to be reputable sources, because there are, despite what people want to say about mainstream media, there are reputable sources out there. And this goes beyond like Fox and CNN. And as far as conspiracies go that you can't debunk or you can't tell, if it's something that you can't debunk or you can't really tell, or maybe true, maybe not, then I either won't touch it, or I'll say I don't believe it's true, but I can't confirm or deny it. That's how that'll work. But then sometimes you can use logic and common sense with it too. So when somebody says like, well, this FBI guy came out and said X, no, he didn't. The FBI doesn't come out and say anything. FBI's got spokespeople. They have proper channels to go through. FBI agents don't just come out and say things, at least if they're still with the FBI. So that's kind of it. It's a great question. How does one become a member? I don't know the answer to this question. I'm sure somebody can probably answer that for you if somebody wants to answer for Elizabeth. I don't know. It's a great question. His face looks awful. Yeah, well, I mean, somebody says his face looks awful. He does. Yeah, he's stressed. He's upset. He's in a bad area. So appreciate you, Chantel, for that. Yeah, exactly. He's kind of too old for life. Yeah, don't go to the dark web, people. We're talking about the dark web. Don't go there, y'all. Yeah, that was a great question, Julie. I agree. Eloise, or it's either Eloise or Eloise, said that she likes that question. I agree. Somebody said, funny, they don't wear sunglasses in prison. Correct, they do not. I wanted to make sure that people knew that that was not a real photo. Before someone's like, Justin posted a photo of him in jail. Like, it's not real. I want to make sure that it was obvious that it's not real. Somebody says tunnels go back to QAnon and Pizzagate. I could believe that. Conspiracy folks always want the tunnels. Yeah, we got to love tunnels. Is $1,000 of baby, well, not baby bottles, but I think you mean baby oil. So yes, there was $1,000 of baby oil and lubricants seized. That is true. Baby oil, it's true. Jaguar mentions the tunnels. There was mention of the Cosby case, the number of rumors about Playboy Mansion. Yeah, but no, there's still, well, I haven't heard Jaguar mention it. I'm not saying that she didn't. You're probably right. I just haven't heard it, but they're not true. Have you seen the interview about the bodyguard speaking about testing the baby oil for GHB? So it's interesting. There was actually a new, and I'm going to have to go here in a moment. 4 more minutes, we're going to do this. So if you have any more questions, get them in on YouTube real quick. But do I think, basically saying that she was squirted with a substance and her body went to go limp. And I did a video on that. This was a new allegation, a new civil case that was filed. And so I brought that up because I know a lot of people feel that there's GHB in the body oil, and I don't know whether it's true or baby oil or not. I don't know if it's true or not, but I can just give you those facts, and you can come to whatever conclusion that you want to on that. That's the best that I can say. Do I think this will shake how Hollywood and the music industry runs, or will this be more like Epstein? The first part, Brendan, good question. I think that it's going to I think it's going to change a lot of things. There's about not many of his celebrity friends are coming to his defense and staying very quiet. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I think, Catherine, in your statement, you kind of answered the thoughts. And I think what's implied is there. I think that the fact that people are staying quiet, they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I really do. I think that it says a lot, both that nobody's saying anything and both that nobody's saying anything. This is big, guys. When you talk about 14,000 phone calls to the attorney's office and over 300 civil lawsuits pending, this isn't like 1 or 2 people going after an alleged money grab. This is a lot of smoke, y'all. This is a lot of smoke. Anyways, I got to go pick up my kid, everyone. So I am going to jump off. But if you are watching on Instagram, you are watching on TikTok, please hit that follow button. Please follow, especially on Insta and YouTube in particular, because I'm trying to really grow those channels, especially if TikTok ends up going away. So do me that massive solid. And I will probably be back on later this evening to do another live, at least on TikTok. And I'm thinking about doing a book signing live for anybody who likes when I do that, because it's been a long time since I've done that. And I've had a couple of people message me asking me for that. So we might do that this evening. Anyways, y'all have a great night, evening. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for everybody who subscribed. Thank you everybody for listening. And I'm quite sure we will be back tomorrow with more updates, because every single day there are more ridiculous updates on this case. And I don't mean ridiculous like these are absurd. I mean, in this case is just insane, everyone. Have a good one. We'll talk to y'all soon.